So I was doom scrolling on Instagram, and I saw this post that said, brothers, rank these traits from most to least important in a woman.
Oh, God.
You ready?
These are just those games to separate the people who are like, ass and titties. And then the guys who are like, no, eyes, smile.
So this is similar to that, but just a little slightly different traits.
Okay.
So number 1, looks/body.
Okay.
Number 2, loving and willingness. Number 3, career/finances.
Okay.
Number 4, personality/vibes. Number 5, morals/body count.
Ooh.
And number 6, loyalty.
So morals is specifically like with body count? Or,
yeah, that's what it looks like.
Or like...
So basically, I guess you have like a more conservative woman versus...
So like pussy morals.
Yeah.
Okay.
So looks and body, loving willingness, career, finances, personality, vibe, morals, body count, loyalty. Rank these traits from most to least important.
I would say personality, vibe first.
That's number 1?
Yep.
Okay.
Look second.
Okay. Damn.
Morals third.
So looks are more important than your morals?
I mean, that's confusing because it's like, are we talking about morals just because they have a high body count, or are they talking about like actual morals? Because if somebody has trash morals, then they're not a good vibe.
Okay. I was talking about looks over... You said looks are over morals.
Right, because...
But personality is the first. Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like putting morals next to / body count is completely different. So I'm assuming they're just talking about like...
Right.
Getting around.
Right.
So I would put that after looks. Because it's like,
Okay.
It's like them charts. Like, the better you look, like, yeah, you got a high body count.
Right. I mean, that makes sense. The correlation is there.
Right.
Listen. Okay. So you got 3 more. You got loving, willingness, career, finances, and loyalty. Where do those come after morals?
I'll put loyalty next.
Okay.
And then loving, willingness, then career, finances. I don't think that means that career finances isn't important. I just think that the other things are more important.
Looks over loyalty, huh? You chose looks over loyalty.
I'm not saying that one is better, but I mean, all right, fine.
No, it's no judgment. No judgment.
No. I'm not changing anything because that's what I think. But I mean, you staying with the Hunchback of Notre Dame just because he's loyal to you?
In women's cases, yeah. Sometimes y'all looks. I feel like for us, y'all looks aren't as important as the other traits.
Yeah, but
because that's why I
feel like people online just come on here capping, acting like looks is in last place. It's not. You have to be attracted to... You could have all those other things. I've even heard you say if you weren't attracted to them or sexually like compatible with them, it fizzles out. So that's a very important thing.
Compatibility and looks to me are a little different. When you can be attracted to somebody and think they're the finest thing in the world, but when y'all have sex, it'd be like, what the fuck is going on? And so I feel like I've definitely dated guys that physically a lot of people would not consider traditionally attractive. But
they had that personality on them.
They did. And that made them look better. It was like, so
that's why it was second, because there are plenty of women that might not have the best looks or the best body, but their personality and their vibe makes them insanely attractive.
Okay.
So that's why it was second. But I
Uh-huh.
do think people try to make it a personality test and put looks and body way at the bottom, and they're like, no, I just want me a hardworking, homely, loving woman.
They do that, and I think people fear like judgment on their list. Because like a lot of these dudes will say like, oh, looks are not that crazy. I want a natural woman. Take that argument, for example. Like, I don't want a woman with no makeup, blah, blah, blah. I want her to, you know, and then get caught cheating with a woman just beat down for the gods. And it's like, bruh, you could tell your woman you like makeup, because if you're going to cheat on her with a baddie that's caked up, then... You know.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting example. I think the most confusing thing about this list is putting morals with body count. I think if body count was by itself, it would probably be a little lower.
Yeah.
But pairing morals with that is kind of crazy, because now it's just like, damn, if you're pairing morals with body count, is the body count in the hundreds? Like, yeah, what are we talking about? So obviously that would be important, but I might move it down a little bit if it was just body count.
Look, all the women in the comments is talking about they in here lying.
See, exactly.
Looks keep coming in near the bottom, but men are visual, so make it make sense.
What did I just say? That's exactly what was happening on the post. It was a bunch of pick me answers.
Right. So this guy put number 1, personality / vibes. Number 2, looks / body. Number 3, loyalty. Number 4, loving willingness. 5, career, finance, and 6, morals.
I mean, I would argue if morals was taken out of it, I would swap the last 2.
Okay, that's what you did.
I still would put backstory, not backstory. I still would put morals and body count before career and finances. But
I expected career and finances to be 6, like to be the least important, because I see so many men talk about, she ain't gotta have a job. I'll take care of that. I'll provide. I'll do this. She don't need to have money, but I don't care. They even go as far as to say like, oh, you got them degrees, but you know, we don't give a fuck about that. So they didn't have education in here. They didn't have education, spirituality.
Well, niggas with money want a chick that's broke because then they can control her. So I feel like that's not really the same thing. I feel like when dudes do that, they're like, I want to provide so I can do what I want. I think career and finances to me is like, that's super important, not because it's like the money aspect of it, but it's just like, I see when women are like really big about their career and stuff like that, that does affect their personality a lot and their attractiveness to me. So
does like it makes it better, or oh, okay.
I mean, in certain ways, just because I am attracted to that. I'm attracted to, like, you know, and not to say there's anything wrong with the opposite, because that's just more the traditional route, and that's just how it was. So you can't really say anything about it. But you know, a chick that's like trying to build an empire, or not even that on that scale, just trying to like do something and has like goals and is working towards something. I think that's dope, because we'll have more to talk about. And then they're not just like, I just want to be at the house all day.
Right. So you don't share the whole women who are career driven, like, are more masculine type thing, because that's a huge thing, because they talk about how women who make more money like hold you to different standards, and if they make more money than you, then they kind of look at you a certain way.
I think we're in a different time. You know what I mean? Like, traditionally, men went out and like did really, really hard jobs, and the women just stayed home and cleaned and stuff like that. That's just because that's how it was. That doesn't mean that we're better earners than y'all. Right. It was just like there was a lot of places where y'all just couldn't do that. So I think that we're seeing that, you know, I honestly think it makes sense for a woman to make more, because like nowadays there's like so many opportunities, and I don't see that as crazy. If anything, it's kind of like I mean, they're not together anymore, but it's kind of like Cardi B and Offset, right? Of course Cardi B is bigger. You know what I mean? Like in that industry, it's like you're not gonna compete with your woman like with that, you know? Like you just have to accept it how it is. It's kind of like that's how A$AP Rocky and Rihanna is, you know? He's like, I'm not going to be bigger than Rihanna. Right. It's not gonna happen, but I can like be on this ride with her and do my own thing. I'm not just like sitting here mooching off of her. And I think that's what it comes down to, is like who's leeching on who. There gets to a certain level of money you get where both of you guys are good. It's not just like you guys aren't that'd be a weird relationship. Be like, well, I got more money than you. Like if you guys are both doing what y'all want to do and raking it in, like I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think it works. It works when both people are out there getting it, getting to it, you know, working. So if she is successful and she's making her bread and she's bringing home big bucks, and he's also doing the same, even if it's not as much as her, but he's still, you know, raking it in, I think that it works. When there's too big of a gap where the woman makes significantly more than he does, and it starts to like, there's like limitations on what he can do that she can do for herself. I think there lies a discrepancy, a battle, you know, and he either looks at her like envious or, you know, kind of like demasculated. She might do the same thing to him. So I think when it's too big of a gap and and there's like limitations on what you can do, I think that's when you have like more incompatibility.
Sure.
But I think when like I was making a good amount, and I was dating a guy who didn't, and the mindset was very, very, very different. And he was more so a complacent type dude though. So he was more so on the, I just want to get this job and stay in this and make this amount. Of course, he probably wanted to make more, but he wasn't a go-getter, which not everybody's gonna be. But when you're dating someone who's making significantly more, and you start to question why they're doing what they're doing to make the money that they're making, it's kind of like, okay, well, you know, what are you doing? So it was like there was a huge value difference. There was arguments, you know, there was a blockage in understanding, you know, and then in my position, I was like, well, you have these skills. Why don't you build your own business and, you know, go from there since you're already doing this? And he was kind of like, nah, I ain't really trying to do that. You know, it was like, I don't really want to work for myself. I pretty much want to work for the man. And then I'm the type of person where I got these Airbnbs that I'm doing, and, you know, doing my little Patreon and stuff. And I'm trying to like, you know, doing my social media stuff, trying to make money there. So my money's going up and up, and he's kind of just like looking like not understanding why I'm doing the things that I'm doing and questioning it and trying to tell me not to do certain things like, and it was just like, damn, like I'm out here getting to it and you telling me not to get to it, basically, you know? And it wasn't like, don't model on Patreon or don't model here. It was more so like, I want to hang out with you, so I don't want you to work. You know? And it was just like, brother, please. Like we got a bag on the table, you know? I had to, when I had all these Airbnbs, I wasn't hiring maid service. I was going to the Airbnbs outside of the ones that were out of state. I was going to each one of them after they checked out, and I was cleaning it myself so that I could save a little bit on, that, and I could pocket that. And he didn't understand like why I would do that. And I'm like, because I make more money doing stuff like that, And he was more so like, but I want to go out or I want to do this. So it was just like, I saw the huge like difference in mindset where I'm like trying to get out and go get it. And he's just kind of like, well, I worked today, so I'm done. And, there's probably a balance somewhere in there.
Well, I think the difference is, I don't think that was I think money was the reason for that. But I think the reason for the conflict at the core was the difference of mind state, like even if money was taken out, you guys would have grown apart at some level.
Right.
So I think every relationship is different when it comes to this. I think that as long as the two people involved in the relationship aren't conflicting, I think it can work. I think there's examples of one having all the money, the other being a bum, and them both being okay with that. There's examples of them both working and just one making a lot more, and they might get optics where it's like, and they try to demasculate the man.
Yeah.
But if they're good with it internally and they don't let that get to their heads, I think it can work. And is the whole like, she makes more than me, I feel some type of way a thing? Absolutely. I'm not going to ignore that. That's a thing. But I mean, like, niggas is like that with their homeboys too. So it's just that's just a very common envious thing that humans are going to have because money is what everybody kind of needs. So if somebody has a significant amount more, there might be some type of envy. I think it's just about if the other person is, like you said, like starting to hate on the person and try to like hold them down, or if the person who makes more money starts treating them some type of way, So if those are out of it, then I don't know. I just feel like it's a conversation, and there's even scenarios where, one of them with a regular job holds the other one down while they're trying to work on something else. And then that blows up and then that person doesn't have to work. You can't ignore that first stage, so.
And I think in those situations, like if people get to the point of being self-aware, maybe if the relationship ended, to prevent from getting into that again, to do some like self-work, because I think when I did self-work on that situation and I was just like, I wonder if I was like, an asshole or being like unreasonable with him. I know that there was a certain way that I did look at him, and I think it was because it was so far apart. He didn't have a car. He didn't have a car and he was in his 30s, So it was like, but I wasn't there for money. You know what I'm saying? But I think there was a part of me, like if we're going out, we always have to take my car. I think there was a part of me that thought about it like,
So that's,
it's not like we were Ubering, because it wasn't Ubering or anything like that. And it was just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the growing apart thing. I don't think it's wrong for the person who makes more money to look at the other person and be like, damn, you don't have any ambition and I do. That's why we're growing apart. Yeah. And at the same time, I also think that if the tax bracket gets too far apart and you guys can't enjoy the same things, that's a little bit more, I guess, more of a vain type of thing. Yeah. But I also think that's a version of growing apart also. Like the lives just went two separate ways. Yeah. And it doesn't have, like, everybody's so uncomfortable talking about money, but I know relationships that grew apart because of the money thing, even if it's
for sure,
romantic or friends.
Shit, marriages. Like, I think finances is number one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, you're talking about just lack of, right? I'm talking about like a
financial differences, problems.
Sure. So I mean, if somebody levels up and they just can't match the frequency of the person. I guess it's more embarrassing to say and people won't really openly say it, but I think that's okay too. That's just another form of growing apart, and it happens. And with the conversation, I really like this conversation because it gives grace
in places, you
In
know,
both,
like
on both ends too.
yeah, because a lot of people will take these conversations and just be completely judgmental and make it to where people feel like they have to, you know, be on edge all the time when it comes to talking about money. But I feel like the conversation with money does need to be discussed and rather early, you know, in the dating process, because that's one thing where, you know, if you bring it up to a man on y'all just start dating, he's gonna think you out there for his money only. And it's like, no, like we really need to discuss like our views on this. Versus, you know, you judging me because I asked you what you do, or, you know, what are your goals, or what are your ambitions, or, you know, how you live in.
Part of
the
personality test too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if your schedule is insanely disciplined and you built something and that's like where your mind is, take all the money out of it. You're just not, you might not be on the same frequency as somebody who, like you said, just wants to do this, and neither is wrong.
Right.
It's just like that's just another personality mismatch.
There's somebody out there for you.
That's as similar as someone being a dog person and the other person not being. Just that one's easier to talk about.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of like personality. Every woman I've ever met that owned a business were not similar personality wise, but similar mindset. You know, they were just like, I don't know. There's just something different about being locked in, you know? And then, you know, I've dated people who like this one girl, she was kind of like at the beginning of creating something, you know? So it wasn't a money thing, but the mind state was there, you know? She was like, it was like the development of it. So it wasn't a who has more money type of thing, but we were very aligned. And then there's, you know, I just want to be bad and, you know, I don't want to work.
I want to work, take care of me.
But
there are men out there who want that.
Sure. You know? But even if that woman was rich, there still might be a personality mismatch. And that's why you see like either a famous man out with like a super baddie and he looks bored as hell. She's like, man, she sucks. Or like the opposite, where like a woman is being approached by like a famous man and they're just like, ugh, you know? I think that's just all personality. Yeah.
I feel like with the personality thing, for me, that's kind of like, that's almost like number one. Because if the personality clashes, then what are we doing?
Everything crumble anyways.
Is done. Yeah. And I feel like the problem in the dating world now is that people aren't really getting to know each other before considering it dating. Like in relationships that I've had, our first dates were really cool because we chopped it up quite a bit before we ever went out.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like we had our fun conversations either through DMs, text, you know, not really FaceTiming, because before I date a guy, I don't really want to FaceTime like that before we, you know. No, yeah, not really. I'd like to see, like, I'll talk to you, text you or whatever, but I do kind of want to still have that, like, oh, you met in person type, you know, type shit. Which, I mean, I'm not against a FaceTime beforehand, but I feel like, you know, just at least texting and getting to know each other, laughing, sending each other memes or some shit, you know, on Instagram, or, you know, just seeing the persons. You can see a lot about a person before you even meet them, like, you know? So for me, it's like, okay, I got to know a little bit about this person. He got to know a little bit about me. Is he still interested in wanting to take me out on this date? If we have that vibe, then the date, when we do meet, we got something to talk about because we already low-key kind of know each other.
Right.
You know? Like, so throughout that getting to know each other process, that's why I feel like that debate between like the first date and, making it a coffee date because you don't know her, or, not wanting to spend money on the first date. It's like, damn, did y'all not like chop it up before you set this first date? Because if you just meet on Hinge or Plenty of Fish or whatever, whatever site they meet on, you just swipe and then say, I want to take you out. Or do you actually have conversations like to see where their head is at before you decide I'm going to take her on a date? Like,
I think when it comes to the like expensive restaurant thing, I'm assuming that's just the first time, because that's the first like trying to impress thing. Mm-hmm. But like taking it back to the money thing, it even when it comes down to like that first date, different income brackets, where do we take, the woman goes, the woman has a lot of money, so has expensive restaurants and stuff, and the dude doesn't. I think that even when it comes down to like, okay, where do we go, to this like mom and pop spot or Nobu? If it's like a thing where the person in the higher tax bracket is like, oh no, I don't go to that kind of stuff. We might not be compatible for that reason. I think that's, like I said before, that's a personality thing.
It's perfectly fine.
That's a personality thing.
Yeah, because ultimately, if he's not making the kind of money that you would be able to frequent Nobu or whatnot, and she likes to go there, it's kind of like, it's really up to both of them. Like, okay, do we want to compromise on this? But when you're first meeting, is that a compromise you even want to make? Or does the guy, because I feel like the pressure is really on the guy with this one.
Yeah.
Because if you're not making the amount that would be like, conducive to being able to afford a lifestyle like Nobu and places like that frequently, then do you even want to put yourself through that? Some guys think, oh, it'll motivate me to get to the bag even more. Some people don't have that self-motivation. They have motivation based off of a certain situational motivation. Like, I want to get this baddie, so let me get to the bag so I can get her.
Yeah.
But I don't know how long-lived that mindset is. Once you get her, do you get lazy again?
Oh, yeah. You can go broke trying to impress people. But
right.
It seems like it always comes down to the personality, because let's just keep with the rich woman, broke dude, right? She makes that decision when they first start talking too, because she probably knows right away. If she's like, I don't go below Nobu, that's a personality thing. If I've known rich women that were like, I haven't always been rich, like I like In-N-Out,
right?
Like exactly. That's a personality thing,
right.
If you grew up in a castle and you're princess and you don't know that life, that's also a personality thing. So I think it always boils down. I don't think people that are just 100% compatible personality wise would have that issue, unless the man takes it to head and like listens to other people and is like, I can't do this, and starts hating or something like that.
Right. And it's like you throughout that conversation, before you guys even go out on a date, you should be making that decision like, okay, is she cool with this? If she is, am I cool with it? I think sometimes like they'll look at it and be like, oh yeah, I like In-N-Out. I want to go to In-N-Out. But then I think in the guy's mind as well, like, okay, cool, she like In-N-Out, but I know she like Nobu. So can I, even though she does like In-N-Out, can I still put myself in a position where we gonna frequent In-N-Out more than we do Nobu or whatnot? Just taking that example specifically, it's like I feel like a lot of people don't take into account their limits and boundaries.
Yeah.
And then it comes to, then they end up like blaming the other person for how they are because it doesn't align with what they can provide.
And it's probably just from outside noises.
Right. And then her on the other end, she has the responsibility of getting to know him too and being like, okay, this is how I live. These are the things I like to go to. These are the places I like to go to, am I willing to pay? Am I willing to pay for him to pay his way? Because I know, like, chopping it up, I know he doesn't really have it. Am I going to be disrespectful to this man because he can't do the things that I want? Am I going to feel some type of way because we're not aligned financially? Like, and sometimes us as women will, if he's offering, we'll take it, instead of being like, you know what? It's cool. He might be upset with you or whatnot if you decide not to date him based off of finances. But I think we as people have to learn how to accept no.
Yeah.
And rejection more easily.
Yeah.
Because it's like, let that woman just be like, cool, we might not be here. But niggas be like, you gonna get your karma. Like, oh, that's what you dating for, blah, blah, blah. And then, she like, he a broke ass nigga, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we don't have to be disrespectful to each other because we don't align in certain viewpoints, certain lifestyles. Like, not everybody doesn't live the same lifestyle, so it makes so much sense that some people would be able to do that. And I do know people who like, don't treat me like, we have to go to an expensive restaurant every night, because even though, she might be financially well off, she might like the simpler things in life. There's a lot of people who like the simpler things in life that make money. So it's really about, chopping it up, seeing the vibe, talking to each other, getting to know each other a little bit before the date.
Yeah.
And then you'll feel more comfortable with the date.
It just all comes down to like personality. But I think that at the end of the day, it's how comfortable you are with yourself too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that stuff is like, are you going to be influenced by how it looks, outside voices? Like your ex, him being like, I just want to work for this place and do this, isn't wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I think where he messed up was starting to like go against you and keep you from doing what you're doing. And I just think that, if people are good with themselves and they're not tripping about how it looks on both ends. Sometimes like the richer person, like if the woman has more money, she might have friends that's like, why are you with him? Blah, blah, blah. And she might be like, yeah, for sure.
Outside
and
influences.
Then the dudes are like, man, why I gotta go broke. Like I feel like, especially with niggas, like it feels like the ones that don't really have it compromise themselves to make it look like they do. And those are the ones that are like, I ran up my credit cards getting this chick a Birkin, because they sort of need that. They need to prove that they have it because they know they don't. And then niggas with hella money are probably quicker to brag about not doing that because they don't look broke.
Right.
They just look like they're making that decision because they don't have to. So I think it's really just about, and that's a false confidence, because they're just like, they wouldn't do that if they didn't look rich or if people didn't know they were rich. But I think it's just about how people are with themselves. That's all.
That's a
how
big
it
point.
is.
That's a huge point. Like, self-awareness is big. And you know what's crazy? Like, every year I feel like, and it's not intentional, it'll literally be like a light bulb where I'll be sitting and thinking or doing something, and I'll be like, I'll gain some level of awareness of myself and how I've been viewed by situations in my past. So, and it's really interesting because it's not a bad thing and it's not a good thing either. It's just, it is what it is. And so sometimes I'll be like, damn, if somebody said, this is what Persephone is like, sometimes you have that awareness, be like, oh shit, I agree. I was like that. You think about situations where you didn't read the room properly, and you acted. And it was like, oh, I was that person, like you start to like understand your personality traits, how you're viewed in the world. And some people will say, I don't control your view of me. But to an extent, You kind of do, not fully, because people will look at you based off of their experiences as well and judge you based off of their life. So that part of people interpreting you, no, you can't control. But what you put out into the world, people can look at you and judge you to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we don't even want to look at that. And I've started to get those just different realizations like, oh, I could see why such and such would look at me like this and say this, and
less is more, especially on the internet. Less is more. That's how people just be shutting up and not saying anything, because anything they say could be flipped and
oh my gosh,
just misunderstood and all that kind of stuff. I started noticing that when I started saying that, so when celebrities comment on posts, it'd be like an emoji.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It'd be an emoji. And then you see the people who use words and then it goes crazy and they try to delete it, and it's completely misunderstood, but most of the time it'd be a cry face.
a laughing face, a thumbs up,
something like that, because it's just like, man, I ain't even
or something like positive, like
well, it's rare. What kind of hoes do you think Benjamin Franklin had?
Do we call them hoes?
What, like harlots?
No, I wouldn't classify them as hoes. I mean, back in that day,
hussies.
No,
floozies.
I don't know, because sometimes like the life that they lived doesn't equate to like popularity as far as like being on the dollar bill. So what if he was lame as fuck? Didn't have bitches like that? Like what if I don't know, we weren't alive. What if he didn't have
in a town with niggas in powdered wigs, the nigga who was inventing electricity and flying a kite with a key on it and stuff like that, you don't think that nigga had hoes?
He might not have. Powdered wigs, I just read this. Powdered wigs were used to cover up STDs like syphilis.
It's crazy.
Nigga.
Because of hair loss, right?
Yes. And it affects your scalp and shit. So if...
Who's the first nigga to get an STD and pop up with that? They're like, nigga, what? What is that? Nah, man, you don't like it?
First they laugh, then they copy. You know?
Like, who's the first nigga to copy the... I don't know.
He probably told him like, hey, bro, okay, this is what happened. Like, my shit going away. We could do this, put this on, and that cover it up. That way we could still get the hoes. And then all the rest of them niggas that had syphilis,
I can't believe that caught on.
Because they all had syphilis.
Yeah, but you can fucking invent a do-rag or something. Why did we invent white, tall rolls of hair? That makes no sense.
Maybe because it needed to be big. You needed some space in there.
Nah.
You know?
That's what I think of when I think of like white culture. That's white culture right there.
But it just seemed like back in that day, hygiene was just nasty. Like the teeth,
wearing powdered wigs, and slave teeth. Well, I actually have the answer to this question. What kind of hose did Benjamin Franklin have?
Thick ones.
Probably. I think everybody was thick back then.
Yeah.
Benjamin Franklin wrote a letter in which he advised taking older women as lovers since they are both experienced and grateful. Some old bags was taking that Frank, that Benja Frank.
Did he have slaves?
I thought he was an advocate against it.
So you don't think he ever did?
I mean,
well,
I don't know. I grew up thinking that Abraham Lincoln was like, I love black people. Let's let them free.
Right.
You know, so... but it says when Benjamin Franklin wasn't pushing up on his bifocals to go fly a kite in the rainstorms, he was doling out love advice. In 1745, our nation's beloved first postmaster general wrote a letter to a younger friend advising the man on the choice of a mistress. In the eye-opening letter, which was not mailed but apparently simply shared for laughs in ye old locker room, Franklin suggests the young man marry an older woman because they're both experienced and grateful. Franklin went on to defend his thesis statement with cold, hard facts, undoubtedly collected through the years of field research. Yeah. Among the many reasons Franklin enumerated as to why the more mature women is preferable to the more recent additions to the human race, they are more experienced. Period. Mature women may be slightly less attractive than some younger models. Damn. Franklin believed that they justified their continued existence by being kinder. Damn. Ooh. Quote, there is hardly such a thing to be found as an old woman who is not a good woman. Wow. Apparently, there is such thing as an old man who is not a good man, though. Right. And to that point, Franklin also noted that with an older woman, there was none of that pesky guilt for debauching a virgin. Oh. That y'all feel guilty when y'all took virginities? I did. I never did it. You never took a virginity? I didn't want to be in the memory books like that, you know? I never took a virginity either. Yeah, and then I heard that it was like awful for y'all and... Oh, yeah. Yeah, something had to burst. Yeah. I was just like, no, I don't want to do that to you. I was bleeding. Damn. All on my robe. Damn. That's crazy. That's insane. Okay. Benjamin Love Guru. Benjamin Button. Okay. Yeah, he was taking them cougars down. I mean, look, I'm not mad at him for that. Like, at least you recognize like that women are graceful. You know, age like wine. And then women, that he said they ain't cute though. Them women look probably 40 by age 15. Mm-hmm. So I think that, you know, once you got up, I mean, niggas was dying at like 30, right? Mm-hmm. Of old age. Yeah, it was kind of crazy back then. But the hygiene was so bad. Like, exactly. It made sense. Like, I want to do like, I do want to find out like the origins of a lot of the STDs that was going around. You know, it's kind of nasty box. nasty box. Nasty shafts. Ooh. Yeah. Can you imagine like a dude with wooden dentures going down on you? You get a splinter. Right. And now I got an infection. The splinter closes the lips up. Mm. You're like, why are my lips opening? Wood. And then the bacteria just like meshes it together. Ooh. Just like it start growing together like a ear hole. What if he came up and the wood was rotted? Your teeth, sir. Get thy box away from me. Thy wretched box. Ew. Were they using the sponge? They were freaky, huh? The community sponge? That was Rome. That was Rome. I know, but I feel like didn't they come over from... If that was hygiene back then, I'm sure it wasn't. I mean, those were pretty far apart, but I'm sure it wasn't anything insanely sanitary. I know, that coochie was rank. Ripe. That breath, the thrush. Ooh. White tongue, white hair. Oh, man. If they had wooden teeth, they had the whitest of tongues, pure as the driven snow. I just wonder, like, why did that nigga put a key on a kite? He is visually bifocals, right, as he presses his bifocals up holding his kite in the rain. Not a looker. I get it. But everybody else had powdered wigs, and that nigga was doing like the electricity shit. You know how many hoes he probably had by the time he stopped flying that kite? By the time that key touched the ground, he had at least 17 new damsels. Well, they were all older, and older wasn't really older back then, so they were probably like dying off. He was probably talking about a 25-year-old when he said older women. Right, and if they was dying at 30... I hate to take it here, but back then, they was starting them at like 12, 13. They were. So in my mind, when I read that, I was thinking like young was like 18, 19. Mm-mm. But yeah, so old to him, 22. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so sorry, Ben. You started off really positively in this segment, but We're gonna have to cut it off.
The huzz.
The huzz. All right, y'all. Let us know what you think about powdered wigs and old hoes. What have we been talking about?
That's what we were talking about. That and then
Benny
the whole
Frank.
like getting to know people before, personality.
That was the main
vibes,
thing.
rank.
That was the main thing. What do you think about
the list?
Everything? But what was the main juice?
The main one we talked about was pretty much finances and then personality and how those kind of mesh together when in the dating world.
Men, do y'all care if your woman make more? And if so, when does that start? How much? Like,
does the pay gap, does it matter?
If y'all both make like, if one of y'all make 80 and one of y'all make 100, it's not that crazy.
No, not at all.
But when do you start feeling it? That's actually a pretty decent question.
That's a good question.
When the heck do you start feeling it? I would think that visually and lifestyle wise, it's probably like an 80 grand difference.
You should definitely pose that so we can clip it and put it on social media.
80
pose
to
that
10.
question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Our finale question is going to make the clips this time. Man, if you are in a relationship with a woman who makes more than you, do you care? And if you do care, how big does the wage gap have to be? Like, when do you start feeling that? Do you gotta make? Is it if they make 50,000 more, 100,000 more? When do you start feeling that? Because some people might be. It might be 5,000 more.
Yeah, it could be just like, right there. Like, shit, I need that bonus. At work, I need to get. Beyond her, because I don't want her to be like, tell her friends, like, you don't make as much. But, I guess that's like a dagger to the ego.
Right.
Like, but if he can get above, she can be like, oh, yeah, we make around the same. Is that even bad?
What?
Is that bad? If he's...
For certain people, I'm sure.
That we make the same?
Yeah, I'm sure that's horrifying for some dudes. But I don't know. I feel like I won't. I'm the type of person, if I'm dating a billionaire, what am I gonna? Yeah, I'm gonna be motivated to make more, but I'll be happy.
Look, are you?
I'll be like, hell yeah, that's awesome. But
I feel like when the pay gap is that big,
then it goes back to being okay again.
It's like, okay, I'm not. That's just
low key
unattainable. Like,
I feel like
I'm just gonna be myself.
I think that it starts at even to like. They're rich, I'm not. Mm-hmm. But then when it's like they're wealthy, then for some reason it goes back to normal. It's like, hell yeah.
Like, nigga, I'm just here.
I'm with Rihanna.
Yeah.
Because at that level, if your boys is like, she make way more than you like, absolutely. Work. I don't have to work.
Goddamn sugar baby. The accepted sugar baby.
All right, you guys, let us know what you think. As always, I've been Patrick Cloud.
And I'm Persephone.
See y'all next time.
Bye.